Hello, GovCon winners, and welcome back to my channel. In case you're new here, my name is Dr. Kizzy Parks, and I have been awarded well over $50 million in federal government contracts. And I'm here today to give you some great information on being an expert in the government contracting space. I'm going to go over the different things that you need to truly not only be an expert, but to find, bid, and win profitable federal government contracts. Client delivery, hands down, coupled with client relations. These two items separate the successful government contracting companies from those who are not as successful. Meaning, when you have experience offering a product or service to someone for money, and you're doing so in a way where you're putting them first, not you, not your mom, not your dad, not your kids, not your husband, not your wife. You're putting the client first. It could be you're always available to them, maybe a 24-hour hotline. Perhaps you have, you give them unlimited edits or reviews of something. Perhaps, like my flagship company, I had a team member who was unable to get a flight, and he drove several hours just to make it to the client site and didn't get any sleep. Didn't matter. He arrived, he did what he needed to do. These things will set you apart by having that experience of knowing how to take what you're offering and deliver it to a client. Amazing. And then you couple that with stellar customer relation policies and strategies, you are going to excel in this space, because too many people think I am entitled to. They believe this for whatever reason. And when someone thinks that they're super entitled, it is not going to really get them that far. The only exception is if you're offering something that is so unique or the government cannot live without, they're going to put up with you. They're going to put up with you. But if that's not the case, then don't do it. Next is you really need to understand how the federal government buys, as well as realizing that while it's the federal government, not every single agency has the same rules and responsibilities. And at the end of the day, you have people who are connected to these buying decisions. Doesn't matter if it's the Army or the Navy or FAA, or if it's Department of Interior, Department of State, doesn't matter. You have human beings who are involved in this buying process. And once you really understand and you accept that and you realize that we're not robots, that some agencies may be more flexible, if you know what I mean, than others, as well as not all agencies adhere to the FAR regulations. For instance, I was recently at an FAA capability brief with a woman I'm mentoring, and they mentioned, we don't adhere to those things. So there are some factors that are a little different. Like for instance, with them, they have a higher percentage for their Buy America requirement, that if you're providing some kind of product, could be HVAC, it could be maybe technology, a higher percentage of those products must come from the United States than maybe another agency requires, for instance. That's all part of understanding them, the buyer, how they buy, and knowing these types of things, because now it allows you to take the steps necessary. Oh, okay, if I'm going to do work with the FAA, maybe my cost may be a little higher because they have a few different policies, potentially not, but it's super important to do this. How do you do this? You may be wondering. You do this by attending different outreach events. You can go to that agency, check out their small business page, check out the different events and attend them, or attend any type of small business events. For instance, in the state of Florida, the Small Business Administration has been advertising an event that's coming up. That's a great opportunity to go hear, take in what these different agencies are saying, because it just gives you a little bit of information into how they operate. The next is you really want to get into the mindset of a federal government employee, whether they're military, not military, or even if they're an intern or a political appointee. You must understand their mindset. And that is, this is a good one. There's another woman who I'm mentoring. And if you ever would like my help, please check out govconwinners.com and please sign up for my wait list. Please check it out. So there's a woman who I'm working with, and she recently went to this huge government event that happens in DC. It usually happens once a year. And what's so great about this event, because it's in DC, so many agencies attend it to have one-on-one meetings. So she went to all these one-on-one meetings. She had her capability brief. She brought her whole team there so that they could work the exhibits. And her focus was on these one-on-one meetings with government agencies. Why? Because she's getting to understand the buyer. She's getting to understand them. And because, yours truly was like, you need to go. Okay. So she's there and she's like, Kizzy, I just wanted to go in, talk about my capability brief and talk about all this stuff and just really go in. And they were just talking. They were sharing all this information about themselves. And one of them point blank said to her, yeah, I see your information. This is great. We buy from people we like. And this was as they've been talking, and clearly it was evident that they liked the woman I'm mentoring on me, of course. But they said, we must like you. I know. This is important for the mindset, right? There are cases where, if you're just blindly submitting a proposal, okay, maybe they just accept the lowest price, or maybe only 2 people bid and they picked one of the 2, but they don't really like you during that transaction, then chances are they're not going to want to do any more work with you. They must like you. You must realize that for the most part, these are taxpayer dollars. It's so important to be aware of that. And also keep in mind that they are not there to serve you. You are there to serve them. I'm going to say this again. You are there to serve them, not the other way around. So they expect, you don't have to be an expert. That's why you watch this video, but they expect that you have some type of background in what you've sold. You've basically sold to them. And when I say sold, I mean, you have an actual signed contract, or it's a simplified acquisition. So they expect that you are the expert in the product or service that you are providing to them. So vital. The next has to do with your marketing. There are things that you must have in this space, because I know y'all are going to be experts, my amazing GovCon winners. You definitely need a capability brief. You need a detailed capability. You need just, nice generic website. You also need to have a presence on LinkedIn as well as potentially Facebook. Did you know several agencies host Facebook Lives, like NASA and military installations? And so this marketing vehicle, while may be different if you are selling, diet tea or makeup or hair products, but the concept is the same. We trust people who we see and who is adding maybe a little bit of value. So by being on LinkedIn, there's tons of government employees out there. Just engage with their content, like it, comment, share it, because you're notified immediately when people are engaging with you on LinkedIn. And people are way more professional on LinkedIn than on Twitter, for instance. Over Twitter, when it comes to Facebook, that's another great place to engage. Attend, for instance, one of the lives, engage with the lives. See if they if they mention people's names, follow those people, because you're standing out. How many people are taking time out of the day to attend a NASA Facebook Live? I don't even think NASA employees are attending it. No disrespect to NASA employees, just making the point that it would help you further stand out. There are all these different government people out there watching all the time. There's a lurker. I know I've been guilty. I've lurked around at times and I'm like, oh, they don't know I'm doing this. And the same happens in this space. So you want to make sure that your marketing is in a way in which you're adding value. It is not a distribution list. It is not spam. It is not just blind mailing. It is none of those things. It's adding value. You could also write a white paper, provide an unsolicited solicitation. These are all really cool options that you can provide. Perhaps you apply to speak at some type of professional event or conference where government agencies or prime contractors are going to be. These are, again, great places. For instance, I was on a panel at a small business event in Orlando, and in the audience was a gentleman who works for a big prime contractor. And immediately we connected, I stayed in contact, and we actually collaborated on several different opportunities. While I didn't win anything, I gained additional knowledge as to how they responded to sources sought. I got to see how they positioned themselves, the type of work they would go after, the different strategies they would use for their go, no-go decisions. So that was so invaluable, because how else would you get that, right? Maybe through a mentor or by working for a company. Otherwise, it was such great experience. Next is you have to be strategic around what you're going to go after, what you're going to bid on, what you're going to pursue, and realizing that it's more than just responding to opportunities. It's a three-part strategy. It's responding, it's dialing for dollars, and it's outreach. Hands down. When you understand and you accept that, you're going to have so much work, you're not going to know what to do. And please comment below when this happens too. Please say, oh my God, girl, I got so much work. Because it's going to happen when you take that three-prong approach, and then you can add in a fourth item in that strategy, and that is partnering. One way of being an expert in this space is really understanding strategic partnerships, meaning you may want to partner with a company who has a set aside that you don't. You may want to partner with someone who has a relationship that you don't, right? Or is in an area that you would like to expand into. You just always know that it's value added. You have to bring that value to that partnership as much as they bring that value, right? It's two-sided. Next item involves pricing. There isn't much I can say about it. I will continue to create more and more content around it. But in this space, I think the more you understand that your pricing is fluid, the more successful that you will be. How do I know this? Because this is what I've done. This is what I've done in over 10 years and being awarded over $50 million federal contracts. And I know you can do it. I'm just like you. You're just like me. I'm no different, not at all. And I adore you, my amazing GovCon winners, because what you do is you take all of these techniques and you just repeat it, and you're just going to keep winning and winning and winning federal government contracts. Please hit that notification button. Please subscribe. Please comment below. Check out profitablecontracts.co for a cool download, profitablecontracts.co. And don't forget, y'all, everything is possible. Take care.